Elon Musk is offering to fund legal bills for individuals who have been, quote, unfairly treated by employers for posting or liking posts on Twitter. And Gina Carano says she thinks she qualifies. Let's get into this here. On August 5th, Elon Musk wrote on Twitter, "If you were unfairly treated by your employer due to posting or liking something on this platform, we will fund your legal bill. No limit. Please let us know." Carano reacted to Musk's tweet, writing, "I think I qualify." And then there's a little emoji there with the blushed cheeks. And I think she has a case here. So if you recall, back in February 2021, she was fired from her role on The Mandalorian as Cara Dune for sharing this post to Instagram. It was from Warrior Priest Jim podcast that read, "Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children." And then appears to be a quote from the podcast that says, "Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?" We then have this image here of children chasing down a woman in a dress. Following this social media post, a Disney spokesman announced that Carano had been fired. The spokesman said Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. So this Instagram post here was just one of many in a chain of events leading up to Carano's firing. It appears to be the one that Disney used to be the straw that broke the camel's back. But she had actually been being hounded by people on Twitter trying to get her fired. There was a whole hashtag fire Gina Carano going on in October and November of 2020. There was the whole pronouns and the bio thing, the whole beep bop boop. There was even a controversy about her liking some post where people were trying to use that to say that she was a transphobe and trying to get her fired from that as well. Carano spoke to New York Times columnist Barry Weiss after she was fired in February, telling her that earlier on last year, before The Mandalorian came out, they wanted me to use their exact wording for an apology over pronoun usage, referring to Disney and Lucasfilm there. "I declined and offered a statement in my own words. I made clear I wanted nothing to do with mocking the transgender community and was just drawing attention to the abuse of the mob and forcing people to put pronouns in their bio." In response to refusing to apologize, Carano detailed that Lucasfilm actually excluded her from promoting The Mandalorian. She said, "That was heartbreaking, but I didn't want to take away from the hard work of everyone who worked on the project. So I said, okay, that was the last time I was contacted about any type of public statement or apology from Lucasfilm. I found out through social media, like everyone else, that I had been fired." So like I said, there was this, she apparently liked a tweet that she then unliked later on, where people were using it to say that she was being transphobic, which is just utterly ridiculous. But she was then also asked by someone else on Twitter here, Joe Talk Show, and she said, "They're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show my support for trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put 3 very controversial words in my bio, beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation." So this was in September. She had been facing this basically throughout the summer of 2020. These people coming after her, etc., etc. There's a bunch of other things. She gives some examples here where she was been called racist, transphobe, female dog, weirdo, I hope you die, I hope you lose your career, you're fat, you're ugly, etc., etc. Those are probably some of the tame ones that she was getting called. But there was quite a bit happening with that. She also would go on to detail some of the things she actually had happened to her at the Walt Disney Company. In an interview with Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire, she said, "I've been through so much and I've seen so much now clearly of the bullying that's been taking place, and I saw it before. I'm not the only one that's ever been bullied by this company. I know that so deeply. I could share a story which would turn things around in the media, but I can't because it would sell out a friend. Everyone is afraid of losing their job." Talking about a culture of silence at the Walt Disney Company, of fear that they were employing on their people. She even said that she was basically being headhunted by employees at Disney and Lucasfilm. She said, "You know how boxers headhunt sometimes and forget to go for the body? I feel like Disney or Lucasfilm or whoever it is, just certain people at that company, I feel like I've been being headhunted and you can feel it." She then gave an example saying, "Just a couple of weeks ago, Lucasfilm asked an artist that they employed to erase my character and put a different character in place. And he proudly announces this on Twitter and erases my character and puts another character in place. all the fans of Cara Dune were just outraged. They were like, why didn't you add the character? Why did you have to take off the character? Is there something wrong? Is Gina getting fired? She would indeed be fired. She also discussed like the double standard the company had. We know this. We've talked about this before. Pedro Pascal basically comparing all Republicans to Nazis in a meme that he posted on Instagram. Nothing happened to him. He's got a job on The Last of Us. He still continues to work on The Mandalorian, obviously in a voiceover role rather than actually in the suit. But he's still working on it. He was not fired. He was not let go. He's still there. And she said, they've been all over me and they've been watching me like a hawk, and I'm watching people on the same production and they can say everything they want. And that's where I had a problem. I had a problem because I wasn't going along with the narrative. She later reiterated saying, I've seen the bullying that takes place. And so when this started, they point their guns at you and you know it's only a matter of time. I've seen it happen to so many people. And I just thought to myself, you're coming for me. I know you are. They're making it very obvious through their employees who were coming for me. And so I was like, I'm going to go down swinging and I'm going to stay true to myself. So very well documented about her experience at the Walt Disney Company, how they were hounding her. There's even like discussion about they tried to get her to basically apologize in a grief session over a Zoom call with like 30 or 40 people that are self-proclaimed transgender or part of the LGBTQ plus community over there at the Walt Disney Company. And they were clearly going after her for her posts on social media. I think that's very well documented. So it'll be interesting to see if she does indeed take up Elon Musk on this proposal, and that if Elon Musk does indeed put his money where his mouth is and he backs a legal case that Gina Carano might take on with the Walt Disney Company. So this is definitely a story to still pay attention to and to follow. And we have been following this story for a very long time, even before she was fired. Like I said, we were tracking this story when she was being harassed and attacked, and there was like the hashtag Fire Gina Carano trending all the way back in 2020, and have been following the story since then. You even had like sitting senators like Heidi Heitkamp, I think is her name, calling Gina a Nazi. You had people running for Congress in North Carolina saying she needed to be locked up and thrown in prison. So Disney's actions clearly influenced people, put a target on her back, maligned her, defamed her. So we'll see what happens as this goes forward, because there's a whole lot within this kind of Gina Carano saga that's been occurring, say, over the past 4 or 5 years.
Subscribe for more.